I would like to welcome Mike Goodeve from Yeti Squad in where in Wisconsin exactly?
Green Bay.
Green Bay, Wisconsin. Mike, I've talked to for the last few years about big games and paintball events in Wisconsin throughout the Midwest because I know that he's very involved with it. So, Mike, it's great to talk to you. Great to show and share what you have going on. So, with that, I will hand it to you and say, tell me what you have going on right now.
Oh my God. Well, apparently, Brad, we got nothing going on right now in paintball.
Correct.
But as far as the plans we had, I think me and Blast Camp probably got our two games, our winter games in. I think that was the last games that made it through this purge. Yeah, guys, my name, if you don't know who I am, my name is Mike Goodeve. People call me Yeti. That's my call sign. I am from SAS, Wisconsin. I'm a higher level member, and I support SAS 100-fold. I also run SAS, not SAS. I run Yeti Paintball Productions. I write and produce all the games at Commando Paintball Sports right outside of Green Bay, Wisconsin, in Little Swamico. And then I have my Yeti Squad guys. I have my Yeti Squad team. It's a hand-picked 15-man team, and they have a lot of requirements to get on the team and stay on the team. All the guys are SAS. That's the first requirement. And then I'm very involved in the big game scenario events, mostly in the Midwest, Minnesota, Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, Iowa, blah, blah, blah. I tote around that area. And lastly, I run the FNG Paintball Knuckleheads paintball page. And so I stay pretty busy in the paintball world. And that's
that's enough. That's enough.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah, it is.
Rewinding just a little. Tell me when and how you got involved in paintball.
Okay. I'm gonna just keep the short version.
Sure.
I bought some tickets for my son and hit 4 of his friends for Christmas one year to Commando Paintball, actually, our home field. And I gave it to them for Christmas. And the day they went out, it was probably in June, I believe. And when they said they were going to go out, I was like, I'll go with you. And that was it. When we got in the car and started driving home, this is it. I mean, I've always played sports my entire life. And the last thing I did was softball, and I played 22 years of softball, but I had both my knees replaced about 9 years ago. So I was kind of limited. But when we got out on that field, and when we walked off that field, all 5 of us were like, oh my God.
Yes.
This is it. We found it. So
what year was that?
Surprisingly enough, I blew the Ghost Crew guys away. Yeah. Have you ever heard of the Ghost Crew guys?
Yeah.
Chicago.
Yeah. For some reason, yes.
So they play out of what is it? Paintball Explosion.
Okay. Yep.
And so I went on their show, and they just were like, "What?" Because it seems a lot of people, with all the stuff that I've done and got into so quickly. I've only been playing paintball for 7 years, I believe.
Well, that's a lifetime to a few to multiple players. I think the statistics is around 2.5 to 3 years that people stay in the game. So you've doubled that without question.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said before, it wasn't, some people like it. You either like it, you love it, you hate it. It was love times 10. So I knew it was going to be a passion of mine right away, and I put my heart and soul into it quite very quickly. And I had told somebody before, it just, my story only goes to show people that, because everybody thinks I've been in this, in paintball for 20 years, like I've
Hmm.
been around forever. And and they'll say, you made such an impact. It just seems like that's what you should have been around. And my retort to that is, you just don't have to be in paintball a very, very long time to make an impact.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely. Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly.
so I mean, you could get out there and be a positive role model from day one, and
Absolutely.
really grow the sport in your own way, and through a lot of positivity, and that's what I did. I mean, I made a lot of friends, and I was blessed to be able to get to a lot of fields early on and start meeting people like you. And just all over the Midwest. We started just traveling, and I wanted to hit everything I could, every field I could, every game I could. And I just I made some of the best friendships of my life in paintball. I mean, and I've been in sports all my life since a child. So, um, I could say I'm older now, and I know how much they mean to me now more, maybe.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, again, guys, that's my mantra. You don't have to be in this sport a very long time to make an impact. You know, just get in there and work with the kids at the field. Let them have your gun. Play with the rental. Let them shoot you. Sit with them, talk with them, teach them. Just be there. Is important to me.
Right. And the interesting thing is, regardless of who I talk to, whether it's players in the classical format, players in the NXL, open, big game guys like yourself who promote and put on events, it's amazing that one of the first things that people say is the level of friendships that they've formed through everything was the level of friendships, and two was how important it was to them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, no, it just says on my thing the host has muted your mic. So
Oh, nope. I
no,
was
I
getting some feedback and just trying to isolate it and see if it was. So,
got it. No, absolutely makes a lot of sense. I mean, um, it it's funny because the people closest to me know that I'm more of an introvert. The only time I am like truly, I put myself out there is in at a paintball event around paintball. You know, um, I have a lot of friends, but I love the time when I come home, and then I love being alone. So it's a catch 22. You know, but yeah, that's the time when I really want to spend the time with those people. And as well as I do, I don't care what event you go to, you never, ever, ever get the chance to really have enough time to talk to everybody you want to talk to, no matter what, anyhow. You
right,
know,
right. And it's
so
unfortunate you try to give everybody time that you want to, but you're there to either play, produce, run an event, do something, and there's never quite enough time to do what it is that you want.
yeah, I've changed some habits over the years. Early on, you know, I pushed myself to the very edge, and I gave everything to the game. Um, and I had very little time for the friends who were coming to the events. But in the last few years, I put together a nice crew of people who help me run the events. So it gives me more free time to get out there and shake hands and give big bear hugs and spend 10 minutes with, these guys, we talk to like this online,
Right.
through, you know. So those relationships are so, so very important to me, as I'm sure it is for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel the same way about having very, very wonderful friends and wonderful people that I've met through the industry. You're, of course, it's real life. So you're going to have good friends and great people, and you're going to run into people that have an issue with you, no matter how wonderful you are or like to think you are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, we were talking about this a little earlier, and you're always going to have haters, who don't like the game or don't like how it was run. Um, I had a, I had a, uh, I had an instance a couple years ago at a game where we just really dropped the ball. I mean, the production staff, and it just was, it was really tough to swallow. But I manned up and I apologized and sent word out and talked to everybody personally and just apologized to them, invited them back, um, and to this day they just they never chose to to accept apology, and they just troll me, and and it is what it is. I mean, I have to think that the hundreds, if not thousands, of people that do support my games and the stuff that I do and the charities I work with, I get more love from that. But it's always, I don't care what it is. I mean, you read your bad press. Uh, we're human. It affects you, and you gotta harden your shell for that kind of stuff, because it just doesn't matter what you do or say. I mean, um,
Your
you know,
heart's involved in the game. It's a passion, and you don't ever want to have your passion or your heart questioned or talked bad about. I mean, that's how I feel. And from our conversations, I think that you would pretty much say the same thing.
absolutely, absolutely. We're writing these games. You're doing the mech stuff. You're coaching now, which is awesome,
Thank you.
because I think. I mean, you went talking about Blast Camp earlier on and coaching over that way, and you put a post out about how was that field. I told you it was our second home. I've been there so many times, but what people have to understand is there is only one reason to do what me and you do, and that is to work our asses to the bone to make the best possible experience for these players. You know, um, be it how hard it is. I mean, the stress, the hardships you go through with personal, family, whatever. You put everything into these games, and when somebody has a bad experience, and then wants to write about it for 6 months, it gets you a little bit. But again, I fall back on the people who support what I do. And I think they're real when they say that, and I think the support is very real. But I don't think, if you're not a producer or event organizer, um, they could never understand just how much work and time and effort and the desire to make the best product possible for them,
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes. And it doesn't matter what the format is, whether it's a classic tournament, an airball tournament, a big game, an airsoft game. You want to have the best for your customers, your friends, the people that you care about. And like we were talking about before, when you don't do that, you beat yourself up more effectively than anyone else can really beat you up. And where we have to step in and help each other and just say, I'm people don't like me. That's okay. I don't give a shit. And I truly don't, because the people that I love and that I respect, they're able to tell me, and they have told me if I've said something out of line. They've said, hey, hmm, or have done something. I feel very good about the community as a whole.
So do I. I mean, I really do. I mean, there's a lot more good than bad
Yes.
as far as I am concerned. I mean, do we see bad stuff going on out there with, single people, teams or whatever the case? Yeah, yeah, it happens.
Right.
And you just gotta. I have a mantra. I have a motto for my guys. My 14 guys with the Yeti Squad team. I do not care what anybody does to you, says to you, or how they treat you on that field. All I care about is your reply, your response. And that's going to be, you're going to turn around and walk away, and, we'll take it out on the field,
Oh yeah.
next time, I mean, we're going to do it. We're, it's just, my guys have come back and told me stories, and I'm just like, oh my God, they're really buying into it. I've had some of my guys come up to me and tell me, you know what, I played back in 2003, down in Florida, PSP, stuff like that. And, that was the lifestyle back then. I mean, it was back and forth and almost fist fights. And, and I'm like, I'm not about that.
Right.
I'm not about that. We have to stand above. We have to show. We stoop down to that. Then, again, if you're a team, they don't ever see Yeti on the back of my jersey. All they see is that Yeti Squad logo. So we all get tied into that. So my guys have really bought into it. They come back, tell me stories that I can't believe they walked away from sometimes, but I'm so damn proud of them that they do. And we made a name for ourselves. We get invited out everywhere to come play.
Yeah, I see it everywhere. Like I said, I've paid attention, and we've talked over the last, I would say, 3 to 4 years, possibly. I was in Colorado before then, so forgive me for not being completely, there from the beginning, but I moved back to Minnesota about 4 years ago, and I looked around to see who was doing stuff, and your name came up and people loved your events, and I knew that I needed to reach out and talk to you.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. I mean, I think every producer and event coordinator, or whatever you wanted to call them, feels like they have something to offer, and for the most part they do. There's parts of the game, in big games and scenarios that I don't much care for. I've become very, very, very good friends with most of the bigger producers, and we talk all the time. And I've even come up with rule changes that could help all of us in these games. I'm constantly going, and constantly trying to make the game a better experience. And my biggest joy is when I get a producer that comes to one of my games, and you sure hope people aren't blowing smoke up your ass. You can kind of tell, but like Chad Los, Red Feather, he's been up to a couple of my games, as I have with him, and he's like, you just do stuff that I'd never even thought about.
Right.
But my formula is make the event fun as possible that includes the walk-ons and the young kids where they can get involved. Keep it paintball. I
Yep.
mean, because it's, and then, be, and then, it kind of works up from there. The generals are working hard doing what they're doing, but in reality, generals only have maybe one, two, maybe three teams that are doing a lot of that work. The, the, the missions and the objectives, and most other people aren't involved. So we try very hard to get people involved, that normally aren't.
Yeah.
So, but in the end, it's paintball. You got to try to keep it that way. Um, it's like, get out there, snap, shoot, go at it, you know. And that's how I really try to run my games. And when I get kudos from people I respect in the game, like DJ Hanu Fox from CPX Sports,
Yep.
and those kind of people, then I know I'm doing things right.
Right.
So
In one of the things that's very, very important is not everybody has to do it the same. That's one
no,
of the advantages of people doing different things. People might like how you do this more than somebody else, so you give them a chance. You're not going to disparage them and say, don't go do that. You're going to say, have an event, be at my event, experience what it is that I'm trying to show you, and then you make a decision as a player.
yeah. I mean, I've never wrote. Well, I'm not going to say never, because you go to games sometimes and you see something that works, and I can, I even tell the producers, hey, I thought what you did here was really cool, and I'm gonna use it in a different way. I
Yeah.
let them know too,
Yeah.
because we've all stole from people.
Right.
William Bailey writing all the early games and some of the early producers. We're not rewriting, the laws. I mean, we're just reinventing some, their ideas is all we're doing.
Right.
Uh, and
Refining
so,
the
yeah,
ideas from the people that were before you
sure, absolutely.
and your own, and add in your own flavor. And
Yeah,
that's how it is. That's exactly how it should be.
absolutely. And I think, me, myself, I don't like, even though I attend a lot of events, um, and it's not, I shouldn't say I don't like them, because I love going to all events, but my preference is to have, you know, um, you know, numbers matter to me. Between 300 and 500 players is a perfect amount of people. Um, when it starts to get really, really, really big, it's just a lot of confusion, a lot of, then it's just open play. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's really, it gets convoluted really quickly. But it's not to say those events ain't fun, because it's still paintball.
Right.
So that's, you got to get your mindset on that. Um, Suffice it to say, Yeti Squad is always in the, we're in the know. We're always asked to do things, um, but which we will. I mean, when we go to a game, a general asks us, "What do you guys want to do?" We don't give a crap what we do. If
Yep.
you want us to just sit down and hold down the line and make sure nobody gets through our line, we'll do that. You want us to go up the gut? You want us to be door kickers? I don't care. We'll spear point, we'll spearhead, whatever you want us to do. And that's the cool thing about our guys, because all our guys are different guys. But when I tell them what we're going to do, nobody says a word. Nobody complains. We're going to go do our job. And yeah, I mean, but back to, like, doing your own thing. I do my own thing. I've come up with some original stuff that I really dig, and you just kind of keep making it better. I mean, you know, there's not many people that have come to a Yeti Productions game, that really haven't given me kudos. I know there's people that might not like the way we do things, and that's okay too. That's, I mean, that's fine.
Right.
But I just, it's the point is we just need to get them there and see if they dig it or not. And then I'm all open ears after the fact for the good feedback and bad feedback. I want to hear it all so we can, if there's ways of getting better, we can get better. So
Mm-hmm. It makes sense. And what I'm doing is just testing out the options of this stream and showing people some of the events that you've hosted and some pictures that are available. Can you tell me what your YouTube uh, station is or your YouTube channel?
um,
Do you
some of the
know?
guys on the team, some of the guys on the team have YouTube channels and
Yep.
they do video. Um, my son does, and I mean, I could, when this comes up, I can,
Sure.
tag some of those on there.
Well, people, it's out there, and I just put in Yeti Squad in YouTube, and there's a lot of videos over the years of you and your guys, and it's smiles on the faces of everybody, and that's the most important thing. It shows
Yeah, yeah, and I don't. There's so much content, Brad. I mean, you
yeah,
can't possibly find everything or look at everything. If you're anything like me, um, I try to. It's kind of like I try. It's kind of like that rock star who answers every letter. There's a
yep,
very few of them, but
yep,
I will reply back to everybody.
yes.
I mean, and sometimes it takes a while, and I hope people don't get upset with that. It's just, I own two businesses, and you know, three if you want to do the Yeti Paintball Productions,
Yeah.
um, which takes a lot of time of my year to write and produce those three games that I do.
What three games are those for the people who don't know?
So, so this is my sixth year going with these three events. The first one is always in January, and that just passed. That's the annual Yeti game, um, and that's a long story. Not it's. I'll cut it down. My original call sign was Sasquatch. Before I joined SAS. And when I got into SAS, they already had a Squatch. So they asked me if I could change my name to Yeti. And I had no problem with that. But I tell people that because people think I wrote a Yeti game.
Because of you, right? Right.
But it was already wrote and done by. I had that Yeti game. That was Commando's first game I did, and that was what they wanted. I got my Yeti call sign about 2 months after that, so I wasn't, it wasn't a big head kind of thing. But yeah, so I have the Yeti game in January, and then in June I have again. This will be our sixth year. I got the Halo event. Um, we always have fun with that. But our biggest event of the year is in August, and that's the Star Wars Jedi game. And I think people really dig it because I put some stuff in there that a lot of people haven't done. Um, every year we try new things. We've kept things that worked. We get rid of things. We try new things. But it's a lot of fun because um, if people read the rules, which I admit I read less than half the rules of the games, and that's partially because I'm lazy, but it's also because I've been to those events so many times.
You know the rules.
I know the rules. I'm just looking for the specifics, the new specifics. But yeah, like it just just to touch on the Jedi game. What we have in there is we have each side has an opportunity to train Jedi as they go, Jedi players, and then they wear robes with yellow tape on both arms so they know, or they have yellow tape and their side tape red or blue on one side, which identifies them as a Jedi for that side. Because people cosplay at those events and
Right.
they'll wear stuff. So if you get trained as Jedi, and there's different training things, you know, you get the Jedi in my game get certain powers throughout the day, and through their training, that'll be how much powers they have. And the training could be anything from taking them off to the side and doing shooting drills,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to answering Star Wars trivia, blah blah blah. We've changed it up. But
Right.
when they're done with their testing, their training, they go back. They put the robe on. Now they can do a lot of cool stuff. That you gotta have. We usually have refs on the Jedi, um, but I've also like talked to the generals and said, listen, if your Jedi gets caught cheating, you lose them instantly, and you don't want that to happen because they can do a lot of cool things for you. Like a Jedi in my game could um, force push people out of bunkers. He can call refs like, I want that whole bunker cleared out, and they're not dead, but they got to run.
Right.
So
Right.
they get that. So, I mean, they do stuff like that. They can use their mind tricks and, depending how it's done, they can pull players from the other side onto their team. Um, it's just,
This
they can.
isn't the box of paint that you're looking for.
Yeah. So, it's just fun stuff. And we try again, we just do different stuff, I mean,
It's
but
about
again,
the experience, and you keep saying experience,
yeah.
but you want to give them a multi-layered. Yes, it's paintball, but it's fantasy, it's role play, it's all of it rolled into one, and it's amazingly awesome from people that I hear.
Yeah, I get a lot of great feedback from that game. You know, uh, Most people, it's our biggest game every year, and every year it's grown. So I mean, it's people tell people, and every time I get a couple new teams out, they tell new teams, and it's like you gotta go up there. Um, and I think we have a great field.
Yep.
We build every year. We're in the process of building more this year. Um, but yeah, it's a lot of fun, a lot of work, a lot of fun. Like I said, you know, the reward comes after for us.
Right. Right.
you know,
Yeah, and
so
sometimes years after, depending on what you do.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's true. So
Well, another thing that I wanted to touch on is with all of this virus and shutdown in all of that, some of your games don't seem to be in jeopardy. But how is everybody in your organization taking the time off? They want to get out and play.
my guys want to play, um, but I've talked to them. We have our chats, we have our private page, and I just tell them, hey guys, everybody wants to play. If you love the sport, you want to play, but at the same time, you have to keep yourself healthy right now. I mean, at the beginning it was older people, and for the majority it is older people. But now that 18-year-olds and 25-year-olds are dying from this, I think they're taking it a little bit more seriously.
Right.
So I told them, I was like, just take it out in the backyard, go out in the woods, shoot it up. This is a great time to tech up all 25 of your Empire axes you got in the basement. Stuff you know.
Right.
Um, but yeah, people are definitely getting bored, and for a lot of us, it's our outlet. So,
Yeah.
taking that away, but at the same time, you know, who to thunk? I
Right.
mean, who
Right.
could have
Nobody.
imagined?
Yeah. It's certainly scary. It's affecting more and more people each day. You got to take care of yourself and each other. And it's best to stay home and flatten the curve, which makes complete sense. And that's just, a smart thing to do at this point in time.
Yeah. And as far as the events go, I mean, well, it's just, I knew it was coming. Again, me and a handful of producers and field owners who, like, I know Virgil very well. I know TJ from PBX, and I know, just a lot of field owners, have touched base with them, have talked to producers. We knew we knew something was going to happen. We just didn't know to what extent.
Right.
Nobody wanted to, you know, take the pen and pop that balloon and talk about it, but I'm all for talking about it. You know, I knew Monte Casino was not going to happen. You know, and
Mhm.
you know, it was like there is no way Bud Orr is going to be flying. From California. It just, these gentlemen have to watch. There's a lot of things, and with Living Legends announcing today that they are just canceling the whole thing, for the year. Um, and then you got like DEF CON at Blast Camp just they're pushing their game up. Now the concern for us producers and fields is they're pushing a lot of these early games into the fall and summer, and it's going to be a cluster.
Yeah.
I
Going
mean,
to step on toes.
there's going to be a lot of toe stepping, and it's like there's a lot of concern about that because the players can sit out there and say, they're just looking to make money. You're damn right they're looking to make money. These are small businesses. I mean, each one of these fields employ anywhere from, you know, normally 10 to 20 people, and we're heading into the time of year where this is their time. They have what 6 months, 7 months tops of this is where they make
I
their
think
money.
we're experiencing a little technical difficulty. So I'm going to see if Yeti can come back here. He might be lagging at the time. It's possible that he ran out of battery. Oh, here he is.
You got me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. Continue.
Okay. No, where did I leave off with that?
You were just talking about stepping on toes and small businesses, and it being very important that if you don't support a field and they don't make money, that field is not going to be there.
Yeah. And like I said, I was saying most of these fields employ 10 to 20 people, and this is a time frame where this is where they make their money.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you have a winter game or you have an indoor facility. But a lot of people, but I can see the player's point of view, especially with the refunds that everybody are talking about. It's really gonna be a lot of coming together. You're gonna get a lot of these fields getting shit for a lot of different reasons that might be justified or might not be. So they're it's almost like the president having
We'll blame it on cell phone reception. And I think one of the things that Yeti is talking about is how important it is to support your field, your local fields, and be understanding, because we're not always going to have the ability to do what we need to do. And people want to be open, people want to put on games, people want to play, but we are in uncharted waters where we're definitely going to need to have patience and work with the people who we care about in the teams and events that we do. So I'm going to just keep talking a little bit while I think that Yeti will be getting back on. If not, I will revisit this when his technical difficulties are gone. But I know that, oh, here we go. I think this is coming in. We are waiting. I know Mike personally, and he takes great pride in smiles, in people having great times at his events. So if you haven't been to a Yeti Squad game, look it up. Look and see what kind of things that they do. If big games and you're a Midwest player or you travel, it's a very, very important thing. I'm right here with you and just carrying on without you and speaking well of you. So continue.
I just I ask your question again.
No, that's I think the gist of what you were saying, and that's kind of what I wrapped up while you were overcoming your obstacles, is that we have to be patient with the promoters. We have to be patient with the fields. People are going to want to take care of the players, and we just need to work together as a community to do the right thing. And I encouraged people to research your games, look at your games, talk to people who've been to your games and see what they have to say, and be open, because not everybody does it the same. And I've just heard nothing but good things from the people who've attended your games.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, it's just again. I mean, I have a good. The first 3 years, I wrote, produced, directed, made the props, set the field up by myself with my son.
Mm-hmm.
But the last 3 years, I've got a crew of people now, and even though Commando has some great refs for like their open play and birthday parties, these guys aren't ready for Ghost Crew and the Assassins and Chad Los and his crew, and a lot of these teams coming from out of state. So that's where I decided. I talked to my team, and now Yeti Squad refs them, so we know how a game's run. We know how to treat people. We know when they're being asshats, and we know when something is just minor.
You know when to use the hand and when to not use the hand.
Yes.
Yeah. Understand completely. What a big question that I have, and I'm sure that other people are interested in, is what games, big games, have you gone to that were just amazing, like blew your mind, like an experience? You know what I mean? Just like a very top to bottom, front to back, a great experience.
Well, I got to say, our first couple living legends, even though that's not my cup of tea with that many people, but with that many players, the organization was stellar. Hanu does a great job. CPX, Hanu runs those events, and he just does such a fantastic job with all that. As far as going to my favorite, one of them is in your neck of the woods. Um, going to a giant big game at Splat Tag,
Yep.
6 years ago, blew me away because just the field,
Yeah.
the woods and the trails, and you know, it, I just it was probably my favorite game for 3 years running, just simply because I loved that field.
Right.
And they had it. I mean, I had issues with the game, like rules issues,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, like I tell my guys, hey, we're not gonna like everything. Enjoy what you can enjoy in it, But that was like right up on top. Um, then we started hitting blast camp, and it's a smaller field than say Splat Tag, giant big game.
Yep.
There's woods, but it's nothing like Splat.
Yep.
Um, but Chad writes such a great game, um, and it's surprising because he's a younger guy and he kind of gets it. But I think I think the best games out there are guys who play at the same time they're producing. So they're getting the knowledge of what people want, because I continuously play. We're at events all the time, so
Mm-hmm.
that gives me great knowledge to you know just do what I do. But
Right.
right now, I would say the last 2 years, my favorite event, and it doesn't really even matter what event it is. Um, it's Michael versus Jason or Marvel versus DC, and that is at Fort Knox Paintball in
Oh, okay.
Indiana.
Yep.
That I sat down with the owner last year and we had a conversation for about 45 minutes, and I just told him, I was like, you are here when everybody else is here, um, with the amount of money you're putting in your field, the amount of time, because all it tells me is it's about the players for you guys. You could take a lot of this money and sock it in your pockets, but they just continue to spend and build and make some of the most awesome fields out there. And my team loves it. I mean, we just love it. And we go back as often as we can. Um, we have a limit on one game and two-day games and 1 day games. Um, the last 3 years, we've hit an average of 17 to 18 games a
Wow.
year.
Wow.
So yeah, this year we really kind of cut it down. And don't let me forget Monte Casino, um,
Yes.
paintball to go. That field is such a blast to play as well. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and Angie and Joe Schnelton are just top notch. I mean, they care. And then that's another important thing. You can go to the fields and you can find out very quickly when the owners and the staff care about you know um, your experience. Then that it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good run game. And what I've said from day one is, if you I don't care how good the game is. I don't care how well it is planned out and structured. If you don't have good referees, then it could be just the most horrible experience. Um, both of those fields, and especially Blast Camp, is famous for their refs being Johnny on the spot.
Right.
Uh, and I think maybe that's why, because I mean, you're playing. I mean, Yeti Squad has been there the last 3.5 years, maybe 7, 8, 9 times. I don't know. We've been there a ton. We
Right.
call it our second home field, and part of that reason is the staff. So,
Right.
but
Right. It makes complete sense. And I didn't want to cut you off, but what we've been watching this last part is part of the giant big games held at Splat Tag, which is a fantastic field in Hudson, Wisconsin. Um, it's I've known the owner Darren. I know lots of the players out there. It's a fantastic field. It's wonderful. So I encourage people to take a look at it and check it out if you haven't, and if you're in the area. So continue now.
Yeah, what you're seeing a lot there is some of the outer fields.
Yep.
What I love about that field is the woods. I mean, the
Yeah.
trails and the bunkers and the castles inside those woods. You can get lost back in those things, man.
He's always adding and always doing more to the field for the years and years and years that I've known him, that he's owned the field. I mean, we go way back. Darren and I go back to when I was 13 or 14 years old, and he would bring me to the paintball field to work at. So Darren and I go way back, and I have nothing but respect for him.
Yeah, I've talked to Darren a lot myself. I'm just trying to plug my phone in here.
Yep, not a problem.
But let me get out of the light.
It's okay. It gives you this halo effect, which has been really kind of cool.
No, I'll turn that light off. Hold on 1 second.
Not a problem.
1 second here.
Is that Gollum in the corner up there? Am I seeing it? Am I seeing it right?
Yeah, that's one of the limited edition. I think they made 70 of those.
Wow.
Yeah, it's what's his face? Derek gave me that last year because I'm cool.
Yes.
So.
Yes. What other reason is there besides I'm cool and he gave it to me?
Not much. But yeah, no, definitely. I've talked to Darren a lot too. I dig what he does up there. And there was a question of me, something else we can get into, general in this spring's giant big game.
Wow.
And I get asked a lot. And I took some on the last couple of years. But then again, it's so hard. I mean, when you're running a game, when you're general in a game, you can take your responsibility level up 500%. There's a lot of work.
And it takes away from some of the fun because you want to be there and participate, and you take on a ton of responsibility being a general.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you don't, that was one of the things I changed in my games. It was important to me after the first couple years so that the general and his XO, they get to play in my games. Now, if they each can go out we have first half, second half after break. So in the first half, the general is worth a gazillion points if you get shot. So basically, you got to stay in. But I keep the XO at a very minimum. If he gets shot, it's still points, but it's so minimal.
Yep, the point value is less.
Yes. So then it flip-flops because I always need a command in with my refs making calls, but they get to get out and play. I want them to get out and play. I will make missions where they have to go to places. So, and a lot of people really like that because most times you're not able to really get away from command, and you're just making too many decisions. And it's paintball again. I mean, one of the key things for generals is, for me, is I want them doing things. I want them making decisions, but I also want them to have fun, and just be able to enjoy the event itself too. So
Yep.
that's important for me. I've had like Neil Chittenden and a couple other guys say kudos to you for implicating that. I mean, or implementing that
Yep.
into your game where they can play. Because it sucks sitting back there all damn day.
You want to get out and play. That's what you're here for. But generals in the whole big game scene is a monster unto itself because there's so many working parts and so many people need to help shoulder the weight and the burden that the experience, as you say, is in a lot of hands. It's in the field, it's in the paint, it's in the production, it's in the generals, the gameplay, everything. There's tons of factors to deal with, and those who can do it well do it well.
Yeah, again, like we spoke about earlier, I don't think the average player has any clue, and I'm not saying that is a bad thing. I just know from experience that they don't have a clue just how much hours, days, months are spent just on some of the slightest details. If you put a mission in, well, then we will have a 2-hour meeting and figure out what could go wrong here. What
Mm-hmm.
if it goes too fast? We need this to last a half an hour. What if it ends quickly? What if it doesn't end at all? What can we do to, so there's so many layers to, you know, um, just keeping the game flowing.
Right.
And
It's
then
like a
having,
mutant. It's like a mutant choose your own adventure real life simulation.
yeah, pretty much,
Yeah.
you know, but then, like I said, Uh, I just have some really kind of cool things that go on in my games. That you know, one of the things that happened to me, Brad, was I started writing big games before I went to big games. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
um, I started very early. I got to know Derek at Commando. We got to become really good friends. We went out to dinner one night, and he said, "How do you feel about writing the Yeti game for me?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "It's, my big game in January. It's just a Yeti theme." And me being an old geek, we're playing Dungeons and Dragons my whole life. I was like, I wrote plenty of freaking things. I
Right.
mean,
Yep.
so I took the challenge on, and and I've loved it ever since. Um, but you know, it takes its toll. Um, especially, you look at some of the producers out there, and they don't play, and they used to play, but all they do is produce now, and I think that's great. Um, you know, but what I do with trying to keep the pages flowing and stuff like I mentioned this early on last November. I was struggling for the last year and a half before November. Didn't know what the problem was. I was really, I was sick, but I didn't know what was wrong. And I got diagnosed with stress disorder and depression and anxiety. And all of that, because I was letting people down. I get so many requests um, to come to games, just show up, Mike, you'll play for free, just be there, blah blah blah. And just and you know you could wake up in the morning too when your stuff's going on and you have 22 messages, and it just became so overwhelming.
Yep.
And little by little I started to let people down, and it was really affecting me. It was really affecting me, and it brought me to my knees in November. Um, I don't even know how I made it through the year. I was going to the hospital. No, it just really. I don't think people understand how badly, if you don't take care of yourself physically and mentally and emotionally, how fast and how far you can fall. I never thought in a million years that would happen to me, but it did. And it really was the culmination of me trying to keep my cleaning company uh, running, dealing with that family, and then I would come home from work and spend the next 7 hours online or on the phone, and was just strictly paintball. And I just needed a break from it, So it's it's a lot of work, it, and you really have to be passionate. you know, I'm learning today how to recognize the signs, um, because I don't want to stop doing this. And I just I have such a passion. I'm so passionate about it. So
which
I
is
just look
obvious.
at, yeah, and I told the doctor, I said, I'm not going to stop. I'll stop for a while, from November to January. I didn't even work. I stayed home. I got well.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, tell me what I got to do. Tell me what I got to do to get back on my feet, And things have been a lot better.
Good.
Um,
Good.
so, but yeah, I mean, a lot of us are like that. You know, again, I don't, I'm not trying to, say get a at a boy or anything, a pat on the back. One thing people don't know about me is I've turned down, I've turned down a lot of events, lot of, lot of games that other fields throughout the Midwest want me to come and write a game for them. I think in the last 3 months, I've turned down almost $20,000 come rate events. And I never intended to, even though I find I find it in I find it very curious. I would love to do some stuff at a few fields that I think I could do some really cool, fun stuff at. But I know I had to say no because it's just taken on so much more that I couldn't handle. And the other thing people don't know about me is I don't, I don't charge a penny for what I do. I don't make any money. I don't make a penny with doing what I do in paintball. Um, I don't charge anybody. There was only one field that I said it was a smaller field that was looking to kind of get some people to notice their field, and I toyed with the idea of writing the game and having somebody run it and talk them through it. But I told each field, I was like, I've never charged. All the producers know I don't charge. They think I'm crazy, um, but yeah, yeah, I do this for the love of the sport. I don't. I think in some aspects, for me, for me, that money can ruin a relationship. So it's easier for me, and again, I'm blessed that I have, um, you know, a good business and I can do what I do. But can I make more money? You're damn right I can make more money. But I choose not to. So,
Yeah.
guys, any Yeti production games you come to, I don't see a red cent. I don't charge anything for my fees. Everything I do is for you, the player. So, you know,
That speaks
and
volumes of your personality and your dedication to the game. We'll have an economics lesson later because I want you around, man. You're great for the game. You're great for the sport. You're great for the geographic location. I don't think that I think that that's probably going to be one of the most surprising comments of this conversation that we've had is that you really don't take anything away. So somebody else is benefiting from the fruits of your work, but you're doing it exclusively for the player. And my hat's off to you for that.
you don't need to take your head off for me. I mean, that's my choice, and I dig it. You know what I mean? So it's just something I choose to do. Um, you know, I know people, these things help them pay their bills. Um, but I can probably tell you this is the point where we talked earlier where my wife would stick her head in the door and be right here somewhere and say,
Yeah.
not only does he not take the money, he gives so much stuff away. you
Right.
know, and I support a lot of charities. I support I like to when I give when I do my little videos on FNGs and I give things away, like
Yeah.
our Christmas thing. I just want to get people. Uh, Winter time for a lot of people is a dead time in the sport, so it kind of gets. I want them to be. I want that juice flowing again.
Right.
Um, and here's the kudos for as far as I'm concerned is all the producers, the fields, the teams that donate all of that stuff to me. And I got to tell you, it humbles me to the core that, all these different avenues just freely, like OCD paintball and paracord addiction and team tags, and they have no reservations in giving me a bunch of free stuff to give to you guys, and it's just really a way to keep you excited about paintball while the winter months are going. Even though I play in the winter, that's when Star Wars is done at the end of August. That 4 months to the end of the year is my time. That's where I play. That's where I
Good.
love sometimes I don't even need to go bring a gun to the field. I just need to be at the field,
Yep.
just in it, the environment. It's that's my downtime. So
It makes sense. It makes sense. Well,
so
what I want to do with you right now is I want to give you an opportunity to thank either sponsors or people, people that have helped you get to where you're going. And we often don't thank the people who have helped us get there. Is there anybody that you want to thank?
there's a lot of people, Brad. I mean, how many people we couldn't do a 3 hour video and you would still run out of people.
You're right.
I mean, you wouldn't have enough time to thank all the people that have made an impact in your life in paintball.
You're right.
And I feel the same way, and I think you'll agree with this statement too. Most of the people who have made impacts in our lives are people that nobody knows about. You know, um, everybody knows the e-celebs, but the true blue people that have helped me and nurtured me and are people nobody knows,
Yeah.
but are just awesome people, and they're not looking for that. They're just so yeah, I could name off. I mean, I could sit here for 10 minutes and name off a bunch of people nobody would know, but I will throw a few shout outs out. I mean, you know I I call Commando home, and Derek Munster, the owner of Commando Paintball, was the one who gave me the opportunity to start, um, producing games, and that led into something pretty big for me. And today he just, we have our meeting in the winter, and he just says, same deal, same deal. You do
Yeah.
whatever you need to do, spend whatever you need to spend to make the games great, and balls in your court. So yeah, I have to thank Derek for letting me do that. But then I have to just thank you know Kodiak, the SAS president of Wisconsin. He's been a great leader the last 5 years for us. SAS Wisconsin is the biggest chapter in the states. We have like 130 members,
Wow.
135 members. Um, and again, I was asked to be the vice president long ago, and I turned that down. And I told him, I was like, I just have so much going on. Thank you, but I couldn't possibly take that position on.
Yeah.
But I would have to say, Matt James helped me out in the beginning, and guys like Hanu and Chad Los and the field owners. I mean, you know, you know, just because I wanted to know everything about paintball. So
Mhm.
I love the history of paintball. So I would love spending time with those kind of guys. Um, Virgil, TJ, all the guys, that I've met, the teams, but I really give a big shout out to the guys who have stuck with me by my side the last few years with Yeti Squad. And the number one guy that I have in my life right now, actually consider him my best friend. His name's James Kreisman, um, ex-Marine, um, and has helped me without question. I ask him to do something. If he could do something, he never says no. And it's just him and Ben Reinecke. Um, are my two guys that help me run the squad when I get overwhelmed. Um, you know, it's really them, my wife, and a gal, Melanie Chapman. She has learned how to run run the game. My games. She's able to now sit in that back room with the radios. She has everything, um, all the rules, and she can answer all the questions while I can get out there in the field sometimes to check on things. And she's just been great. But yeah, probably most my wife for letting me do all this stuff
I was I
without
was
divorcing
gonna
me.
I was going to remind you because some of the guys that I've talked to have said just that very thing. They went down the laundry list and then they'll send me a message afterwards saying, "Oh, I forgot to thank my wife." So, yes, I'm starting to be preemptive with that. Because after all, she helped you connect with me tonight, so I appreciate her for that as well.
Exactly, because I'm telling you, I am not computer savvy whatsoever. And of course, you've got guys like Wolf and Reaper, and just the e celebs out there in the world. I mean, they've all been great with me, and I've met a lot of great guys like Ryan Greenspan, who fought for me in Clowns vs Zombies last year at PBX, and I know a lot of guys from Boom, Chris Jansen. Just a lot of Houston Heat gave me a bunch of stuff last year for the Christmas thing, and my even though I'm a big game player, we will go do little 3 5 man tournaments on the squad.
Mhm.
We want to do the 10 man at Chicago Open. Um, we support every bit. When the NXL is on, Vegas, Texas, whatever it is, I am glued to my computer. I don't play that style of play, but I just love watching anything paintball. To me, it's the world. Just so, and I've been blessed to just meet so many great people. Just like you. I mean,
Uh,
that have made an impact. Bud Orr,
yep.
William Bailey. I mean, just Dan Colby. Um, you know, so many great peoples in all the aspects of it. Of the sport. So there's kudos to everybody. Everybody everybody you meet will affect your life in some way.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, all of
Absolutely.
them. So yeah, I give those
That's
shout outs.
that's probably the most concise answer yet that I've gotten from any of my interviews when it's talking about, because it just goes on and then a tangent and then on and then on and then a story. So you were very concise with it, and I get it. There's way too many people to thank, and I try to thank everybody. And we were talking about it before we even started. We're not going to be able to thank everybody that needs to be thanked. We're not going to be able to talk to everybody at our events that deserve to be or that we want to talk to. it's one of those things that is, there's never enough time and there's never enough resources to do that, but we bleed and we want to make everybody have a great experience regardless of format. You know, the NXL, the ICPL, all the tournaments, they want their players to have a great experience. Now, not everybody has sold out to that jargon, but it's one of the things, and the easiest way to say it is, it doesn't matter what format you play. You want to have a good experience or you're not going to keep playing that format.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, now with the mech stuff that you do, I've supported it from day one. You know, I don't play it. I have a few guys on my teams on Yeti Squad that, you know, are just pumping mech crazy, and you know, we talk about it so much. I bring your name up probably more than you would ever imagine, because when I'm talking to people and they bring that up, I'm like, yeah, for as far as I'm concerned, Brad's just spearheading that. I mean, he's been spearheading that for a while. And I think, you know, I think again, any kind of paintball. I mean, if these old school guys are coming back, you know, I'll be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of the whole I know it's a part of paintball back in the early days, but you know, I'm not a big fan of the yelling, the screaming, the fighting. you know, you know, and
Right. Right.
I
I get it.
and you know, but because I think you know, you see all these people on the threads going, Nerf Nerf got in the Olympics. You know, this is on ESPN, and we can't even get on. Well, part of that problem, guys, is us. You know, I mean, you know, we had a chance. Um, we didn't play. We didn't roll the dice maybe the right way. Can we do it? I definitely think we can do it. But it's got to start. It's got to start with all of us. And I mean, and it's too. There's just too much. I mean, negativity sometimes. Um, you know, a lot of finger pointing. I'm never a fan of these memes that come out. You know, Woods ball. Uh, you know, X ball. You know, are you kidding me? I mean, but my whole team is a bunch of freaking wood ball players that, you know, shoot Luxes and CS2s and axes and whatever.
Yep.
You know, it just doesn't matter. You know, well, you know, you wouldn't even survive. Just stop it. How can just come and play it? Because let
Right.
me tell you a story. You know, the first year, 3 years ago, I got Boom. I got Chris Jansen and like four Boom guys to come out.
Yep.
It was so funny because they were trying so hard to not die. And Chris came up to me, I mean, smiling like a 10-year-old. He's like, it took us literally like an hour to realize we could go tag back in and go back in. And we're just like, you know, we're just really trying not to get shot one time, you know.
Right.
And at the end, those guys came up to me, and you know, Max, who used to play for Boom, and you know, they're like, I have not had a better time. I strongly recommend that all guys in the NXL go play maybe one or two events if time permits, and let them see how much fun. Because you know, I played with a lot of guys from Dynasty, and you know, PBX brings a lot of people in, and those guys, you could just see their face. They have a blast,
Right.
and it's more fun for them
Yep.
because you know, a lot of times it's just work. I mean, you're a coach now,
Yep.
and while you're coaching, not that now, but and you see it is work. It's repetition. Here you just run around and you
Yeah.
just use your skills, man. And
You
you know,
enjoy the moment. You enjoy
yeah,
the moment. And when competitive paintball players are able to not worry about getting shot out, not worrying about, you know, the coach thinking this or the other players thinking that. It's freeing. And I understand, because I talk to a lot of the guys when they go to the classic events where, I understand to backtrack to to what you were saying about the things that you did not like about the format, where it was, I 100%, I grew up in the era of the Wild Wild West, where guys would fight, guys would sabotage, other teams with lots of crazy, crazy things. Fights would happen, and it takes kind of a perverse person to find joy in it. And there's some of those people out there in that format. But I understand exactly what you're saying. And to go back to guys being able to not focus on the competition, not focus on, I got shot out this game or whatever. I'll go back to what it truly is it's freeing. And when you cease having fun at paintball, even if it's doing something that you love. I love competitive paintball. I personally love competitive paintball. But if I don't have fun at it, I stop what I'm doing and go on to something else. Because I've learned in my time that I don't leave the game. I just cease with that group or that situation, which eliminates the fun for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like I said, when you see experiences, like I said, with Boom having so much fun and just like little kids and winning the most valuable team, 2 years in a row at my Jedi game, they're like, to me, it's all competitive paintball. I don't care what you're playing. We're all
Yeah,
competitive.
you're right.
I mean,
You're right, because there's an objective, there's a winner, there's a loser. It's just I meant the competitive in the traditional, jargon of the game itself.
I know what you're
You
talking
knew
about.
what I
I
meant.
know what you're
Yes.
talking, but I see it all as the same difference, and that's why I enjoy watching and being around all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I find joy in being, if I'm a part of it or if I'm watching it. I find so much joy in all of it. I mean, it's just it's a wonderful sport. It really is, and there's nothing like it in the world as far as I'm concerned. You know, um, but we can always do better.
Always,
We can
always.
always do better.
I try to always do better, and sometimes I fail. And it's just what it is. Dust myself off, apologize, and say I didn't do how I wanted to do, and on to the next thing with the people who support me.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah. I get it. I failed myself. I
Yep.
mean, you know, but because we're competitive beings, but what gives me hope is having two or three of those old school players, the Wild West players on my Yeti squad, and enjoying it, telling me, pulling me to the side, coming over to my house, talking and saying how much more enjoyable it is to how hard it is, for one, not to get into that interaction, to walk away, grab two more Yeti squad guys and go get them on the field.
Yeah.
I mean, do it that way. Do
Yep.
it the proper way. You don't need the mouth off. You don't need to, make a scene out there. There's ways of handling it, and you hear it all the time. It's like, you know, we ain't talking right now. I'll talk to you after the game's over. And it's like, I get it. It's like, we're coming after each other. But you know, it to me, it's just we could all do better. And if people are so worried about getting it on ESPN or televised, then I think the culture in some ways has to change. And I think we could do it. I mean, I don't think we're very far from it, to be honest. I
No.
mean, And I also hate when people say the sport's dying. Well, we have less players than we did maybe 10 years ago, but you know, and I think we talked about this last year, Brett. Um, in my area, it's growing
Mm-hmm.
because we every person I know at that field, we go out of our way. I'm like, when you're there, you give that birthday boy your gun, blah, blah, blah. Make it the best day of their life. We have people coming back. We have, I can't control the business end of it, but I can suggest to my field owner. And we respect each other very much. And he's starting to make smaller changes, to make things, better. And it is growing here. Where I see it not growing is where I see a lot of moaning and groaning all the time, and in areas. And I'm like, there's a reason it sucks here. You guys, it doesn't even seem like, I don't even understand why you guys are out here. All you do is complain, 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 and don't you realize that people are watching you? Whether it's on the field or off the field. Um, it's just, it's how you are perceived, not by our peers, but by new players coming in, birthday parties, bachelor parties, and making that experience just, a just an even better time.
Right.
There's so many ways we can do it, but yeah, it's I have nothing but hope uh, for our sport. I really do. I
Right.
mean, guys like ourselves who put the work in trying to better this sport in any way we can. Yourself, myself, and a lot of good guys out there. You know, so I think we'll do well.
I think so too.
Maybe not in 2020, but
Right, right. Maybe not
so
right now, at this point, but that's actually one of the reasons why I was motivated to do this podcast is just because I talk to a lot of paintball people a lot, day to day, and we're all or a lot of us are stuck in the house in trying to get some kind of escape from the real world that's locking us in our house. And it's one of those things that the dream, the memories, the things that we have, the hope for the games in the future and the events in the future are going to, help us through this time. And I wanted to introduce and show the people who mean something to me, regardless of format. I mean, you were on the top of my list of people that I wanted to talk to. And, some people might say, but Brad, he runs big games and it's passion, it's paintball. You love it. I love it. I was supposed to go to the Jedi game last year, but I got sick and, I'm not going to make that mistake twice. So I'm making that as long as there's no conflicts because we've said, there might be a shift in events where you're having 3 or 4 events on the same weekend or a weekend after each other. I travel. I love paintball. People that are listening to this uh, conversation between the two of us are interested in what it is that you do, and they want to help support and be be the players that you want at your game, and that's what really excites me.
well, I hope so, and I'd love to get you over. I know last year didn't work out for you, and that's fine. I mean, shit happens all the time, and but you know, I just want to get you there. I want to show
Yeah.
you what we can do and how much fun we have with it. And it's like I said, I own another business and actually two more businesses now. But it's word of mouth. Really, you can advertise. You got a lot of games in the states that have absolutely unbelievable artwork and just graphic designers doing some, and you get to the game and it's like there's a flag there and there's a flag there,
Right.
and
Right.
I want to do cool artwork, but more so a million times than that, I want that artwork to reflect the game, and just, and I think we do. I think we do. But
I think you do too.
you have an open invite. Your VIP package was sitting there, and it was all lonely and empty bread. Nobody picked it up, and
Oh, you're killing me. You're killing me. No, and that's it that shows again, to the level of detail that you go to make the people feel welcome. It's amazing. It's one of those things that, from the first time that I talked to you, and when I talk to people who've attended your events, they've said that you're a detail guy. You know what I mean? Like exactly like you said, there's great people build up something and then they get to the event and it's like, where is everything? Or, what is this? But somebody actually told me that it was kind of like a festival atmosphere, especially at the Star Wars game where you said there were the cosplay and whatever, where everywhere you look, it's something different. It's something new. It's something exciting.
Yeah, I mean, in every aspect, I don't ever stop thinking about how to make the game better. My game isn't written months in advance. My game is the final draft is about on average 3 hours before game time. I am always
Revising. Yep.
sure.
Revise. Ooh, what about this? It shows in your personality and how you are. And again, it's, I can't say that I've heard enough good things about it, and it's from people that I trust. So I know that you run great events, and it's one of the reasons why I needed to talk to you.
Well, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. I really do. We're just gonna have to get you out, like I said, and let you see for yourself. So,
well, I guarantee you this year that I drive past you to go to Indiana. So now you're short. You're short. So, there is no excuse. I have friends in the Green Bay area, and I've wanted to go to Commando for so long. It's one of those things that, I'm telling you, whenever this thing ends and when I have a free weekend, I'm going to not miss out on what I think is a fantastic time, and you'll see me smiling.
well, I hope not. I hope to see you there. I really
Yes.
do.
Yep.
And yeah, and it's it's going to be tough because again, I talked to a lot of people, and with all these games getting pushed up, it's going to get into it, and it's going to be, everybody's concerned about attendance now, and because we really do, a lot of the producers, we really kind of talk to each other every year, November ish. We're talking about our dates. We try to, accommodate each other. You'd be surprised. I mean, even Darren from, Splat, called me
Mm-hmm.
earlier in the year asking, if we have our game here, is that cool with you? I'm like, I'm not going to tell you what to do, Darren. You've been in this game a lot longer than me. I mean, I appreciate you making the call, and blah, blah, blah. But,
Mm-hmm.
we've always been able to work around each other. And, but yeah, I mean, so it's, that's a concern a lot of producers of fields have right now with games bumping up. You had Living Legends again announced today that they're just going to cancel the event entirely this year. And, some games have pushed up already. Monte Casino and DEF CON, and and I expect more. Um, hopefully, hopefully it doesn't go too deep, but we are going to have a lot more games in a shorter period of time, and it hurts everybody. It hurts the player, it hurts the field, because now you got to decide, and especially with money, if people haven't been working, so it
Right.
is. But you know I feel for all those people. I really do. Again, I'm blessed to be able to not have that as, an issue for me, but I do feel deeply for, you know, all these people who spent money for events, and, you know, field owners and who count on these events and stuff. And, you know, um, I don't know. It's tough. I mean, but I have a lot of ideas, and I got a lot of stuff going on. With producers like Viper and Payroll and Chad and you know Midwest producers. We're talking about collaborating.
Great.
There's stuff in the works. I've made things. I'll drop a little something. I in the first time I don't think it's happened anytime in recently, and not that I can remember. But I proposed a plan of working with three other producers, and we're going to do a series, a 2-year series
Oh,
of
wow.
each of us write. And we're not going to write the game at our field. Somebody like will come write the game at Commando. I'm going to go write the game at Blast Camp, or Mike's going to write it at somewhere. We're going to
Right.
switch events. So that's something that we've been working on a little bit. And I can even tell you it's going to be if we can get it all coordinated. I'm working on the gist of it, the format of it, but it's going to be what is it? A Warriors base game. Trying to get from New York to Staten Island, kind of format, and we're all going to write our own game.
That's
The,
fantastic.
we're just trying to put a lot of detail. It's enough work to write a game. It's going to be a shit ton of work, uh, but this is going to involve. We have owners of fields who are going to be commanding these games. So yeah, it's something we're working on. It's going to be something I don't think has ever been done, but yeah, I think I think if we can make this happen, it's going to be a real fun game, a series
Yeah.
at different fields. So it's stuff like that. My brain doesn't shut off, Brad. I'm always trying to come up with new stuff. You know, trust me, it's
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. My brain does not
that's
shut
where I,
off.
that's where I get in trouble. But
Yep. Yeah.
hey, now if I can take a few minutes, unless you have a couple more questions, you have, or I mean, I have a new product coming out. I would like to just,
Please
if
do.
it's okay with you,
Please
if I
do.
could. Okay, so during this time, I mentioned earlier that I got diagnosed with that, and it was pretty severe actually. And I could tell you, really quickly, the first 2 months, I was literally sitting in my office listening to meditation music for 3, 4, 5 hours at a time, in the middle of the night, white knuckling it, trying to get through, trying to get the meds going, blah blah blah. In that time, I came up with an idea. I remember sitting there saying, at some points I was like, it was so bad. Uh, I remember one night just saying, like, how am I going to get through this? Because it didn't seem possible at the time.
Right.
And, and it was just like, you know, I just got to make my own tracks. So I said that, and it came about. And long story short, um, I have come out with my partner James Kreisman, who partnered up with me. Um, I didn't need a partner, but he's such a great businessman, and he's stingy. And I'm the guy who will give you a free T-shirt every chance
Right.
I get. So
Right.
he keeps
Right.
me in check. I always say he's the yin to my yang, but
Yeah.
and then we put a good group of people behind it, and we have spent tens of thousands. I mean, a lot of money. And our new product is called Myot, Myot Wear. It's MYOT. It's an acronym for Make Your Own Tracks. Um, so, it just started to pick up steam as, I brought it to a couple people. Um, and I had, after I put some stuff down, I had three people offer to buy into it, um, up to $45,000 to come in and partner with me on this. Because make your own tracks. The way we look at it, Brad, is we have artwork, we have 16 different products. We're gonna launch next week finally. Um, we've make your own tracks just applies to just about anything in life.
Hmm.
You know, I'm just going to tell you a quick story. I'm a talker. I'm a seller. If I believe in something, I'm going to tell you about it. And I remember sitting at the doctor's office a couple months ago, and there was this gal sitting next to me, and I seen she was wearing Reebok stuff or something, Nike or something. And I said, "You always wear Reebok?" And she's like, "Oh, it is what it is." I was like, "You should wear Myot wear." And she's like, "What's that?" And I started to tell her a little bit about it. And she's like, "You got some pictures?" So I opened my phone. I showed her some pictures. She scrolled through. She stopped. She handed me the phone back. She got really quiet. And she just looked at me and she said, "You can see I'm a little overweight." She goes, "The last 2 years of my life have been really difficult." Um, and when I seen those shirts, she goes, "And the hats, and we got leggings and blah, blah, blah." And she goes, "If I was walking down the street and I saw that on a t shirt or a hoodie, make your own track." She goes, "That just applied to everything I've been going through." She's like, I've been struggling with my weight and I've had a really hard time the last 2 years. And she's like, "I would buy that because it would mean something to me." Now she got up and left, and I just sat there for like 5 minutes going, she got that from simply 5 seconds of looking. And that's what we're talking about. And, you know, um, make your own tracks is absolutely applicable to anything in life, and no more so than right now. um, you know our marketing team is talking about, we need to market here, and I'm like, I know you guys know what you're talking about, but I believe we can market to anybody, from children to elderlies. I mean, make your own tracks can mean whatever it means to you with
Right.
whatever's going on. I mean, so in the meantime, we have, yoga people, gyms, MMA people. We don't want to be sports. We want to be. We're a lifestyle brand.
Yep.
Um, and have Reaper. Um, didn't want to get too crazy. Everybody knows me in paintball, and we were going to hit the events. Living Legends, we were going to be one of the featured vendors there. I worked out with DJ,
Hmm.
and so a lot of that stuff's going down, but that's okay. I mean, we think we have a great message as well as a product. And again, you know, I will tag you. We'll be going live next Tuesday with, on Instagram. The webpage will be open. The website will be open. On Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We got all platforms going live next week, and I just hope people check it out and dig it. You know,
Do you have a website address for it yet?
um, we do, but it's not open.
Yeah.
We're still finalizing it, and you know what I'll do? I'll just send you some info afterwards.
Yeah.
because we're going to do a soft launch.
Yeah.
Uh, we're going to do a soft launch in the coming days, just work out the kinks, get some sales through, make sure everything's working. But we'll be putting out, we did some commercials actually for it. Got some great photo shoots. A little backstory on kind of what I just told you. But yeah, when it comes, Brett, I will definitely get you all the info you need,
Perfect.
and I'll get you, a T-shirt.
Well,
Um,
I will make sure to purchase a t-shirt, and if you give me a t-shirt, I will give one away in a contest or something else, because again, it's one of those things where I'm going to support you, and if you want to do something for me, I'm just going to pass that on to, somebody who I think would appreciate it and appreciate you.
yeah, I appreciate that. I really do. I support you anyway. Uh, I s- I support just about everybody. I mean, I don't care what it is. I am I am one of those rare people that the bias is not there with paintball. I have personal opinions towards people, places, and things in paintball, but that will never come to light. You
Right.
know, um, for me, it is. I don't. I'm just going to support anything paintball, and I try to share your stuff and whatever, whatever. So if
Right.
you're going to help me get this out, we believe in it. We believe
Yeah.
in it very strongly, and I think making your own tracks again can really apply to anything. And we think we have some really cool designs, and we got t-shirts and tank tops and beanies and women's leggings, women's shirts, shorts and sweatpants, and so yeah, we got a lot to pick from, and we'll see. Hopefully, it does well. So, but
Yes.
yeah, thank
Yes.
you for letting me plug that, Brad. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I don't know if you even realize this, because I'm quite a talker myself, but we're knocking on 2 hours.
Yeah.
Uh, and the dog has come in and told me that it's about time for me to take care of her. But what I want to do is I want to thank you for taking time to talk to me. I know that what's going to happen is, after we have this conversation and I post it out there, people are going to bombard me with questions and things. So I want to be able to touch base, and let's pencil in something when your make your own tracks website goes live. If we're still in this current situation or whatever, let's get back together so that we can discuss that. If everything's done at that point, you'll have a better idea of your schedule and upcoming events, and we can touch base with that. And that's how I would like it to be, because whether it's you coming up here to Wisconsin, to a field closer to me, or me going out to you this season, we're going to go and we're going to throw paint at other unfortunate individuals. And that's what I'll do. And I appreciate everything that you've done for me, and for the sport of paintball in the state of paintball in the Midwest, which is my home. So I appreciate everything that you've done.
Well, I appreciate you letting me come on the show tonight and talking to you about some of this stuff. I really had a good time. I had a blast. I like to talk too, but I like talking to good people. And you're good
Perfect.
people, Brad.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. And right back at you. So, with that, I will, if you have anything else that you want to say before you go, it's your time. I have no, yeah. Is there anything else that you want to say?
The only thing I would like to say is, I just want everybody to be smart, be safe, keep your family safe during these times, and just, do the best you can, and let's get through this, and let's get back to paintball. We can do it collectively a lot better than by ourselves.
Yes.
That's all I got.
We always do greater things when helping each other achieve newer heights. I completely believe that 100%. So I will follow up with you after we get off with this. I will upload it. I will tag you. I will, make sure that I give it all the attention that it deserves, because again, like I said, it's amazing what you do with the passion that you have and the people around you and the quality of events that you have. I can't say enough good things about it. So
again, thanks a lot, Brett. I appreciate the time.
Absolutely. Really. Absolutely. And I will definitely be in touch with you, sir. And I want you to have a great night. Stay safe. And if you need anything from me, please, reach out, because I'm here. I'm in the house. I'm just going to be doing podcasts and podcasts and podcasts, because I got my dog, and that's, they're delivering food. So I don't really even have to leave the house. So that's just how it is. So again, thank you very much. I appreciate you, and we'll see each other out online, and anytime you need to call or anything, please don't hesitate.
Sounds good, Brad. You have a great night as well.
Thank you for your time, bro. I will talk to you soon.
All right. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Wow, there you have it. 2 hours with the man, the myth, the Yeti. I would like to thank Mike and Commando Paintball and the Make Your Own Track brand that he's putting together. It has a great message, and it transcends more than just paintball. So I want to thank you for watching, listening, paying attention. Please feel free to like the YouTube page. I'm going to keep just cranking out interviews and podcasts as much as people want to. It's not just tournament paintball. I love everything paintball. So if there's somebody out there that I haven't talked to that wants to talk to me, I'm very easy to get a hold of on Facebook. Feel free to send me a message, post on this. I'll look and I'll interact with it. And with that, I say good night, and I appreciate all of you. Thank you.